Picture this. You're strolling through the city park, enjoying the lush greenery and the sweet song of birds when suddenly your peaceful walk turns into a scene from Jurassic Park. A massive bird with sharp talons and a beak like a crocodile snaps its wings open, revealing a wingspan so wide it blocks out the sun. Yes, we're talking about none other than the pigeon. But hold on, this isn't just any ordinary pigeon. It's a giant pigeon, and we mean really, really big. In today's video, we'll explore what would happen if these common birds were to evolve into gigantic creatures. From their prehistoric ancestors to their modern-day counterparts, we'll uncover the secrets of their potential growth and the impact it could have on our world. Get ready for a wild ride through time as we answer the age-old question, what if pigeons were the size of dinosaurs? To understand how these feathered giants might have evolved, we need to take a trip back in time to see their ancestors, the dinosaurs. Okay, not really. Instead, let's just stick to the Ice Age. Rock pigeons are believed to be around 4,000 years old, making them one of the oldest domesticated animal breeds in history. But they weren't always the plump, docile birds we know today. In their early days, rock pigeons were fierce hunters, relying on their sharp beaks and strong talons to catch prey. They also had longer, stronger wings that allowed them to travel long distances, which is how they spread to different parts of the world. Over time, these birds began to change as humans selectively bred them for certain traits such as color and size, eventually leading to the domestic rock pigeon we know today. However, this process of selective breeding has been going on for thousands of years, and there's no telling where it might end. Imagine if humans continued to selectively breed pigeons for larger sizes. What would the end result be? Let's find out. If pigeons were to grow bigger, they wouldn't just become larger versions of their current selves. Their entire skeletal structure would need to change to support their newfound size. The bones would need to become thicker and stronger to handle the added weight, and their muscles would need to develop more strength to allow for flight at larger sizes. Interestingly, the giant extinct Mola mola, a flightless bird found only in New Zealand, gives us an idea of what a large flightless pigeon might look like. The Mola mola is the heaviest bird native to New Zealand, with males weighing up to 7 pounds and females weighing up to 3 pounds. Its legs and feet are notably larger, allowing it to roam the forest floor in search of food. Now imagine if this flightless bird had wings and could fly. That's what a giant pigeon might look like. But just because they can fly doesn't mean they'd be graceful. Picture this. You're relaxing in your backyard when you hear flapping wings and the unmistakable sound of thunderous footsteps. You look up to see a giant pigeon landing awkwardly on your bird feeder, knocking it over and sending seeds flying everywhere. Yep, these birds wouldn't be winning any awards for their flying or landing skills. Gracefulness isn't exactly a trait associated with pigeons anyway. And as they grew larger, things wouldn't change much in that department. Imagine a pigeon trying to land on a windowsill. The awkward hop, the sudden lunge, and then the loud thud as it crashes into the glass. It's enough to make you laugh and cringe at the same time. But when it comes to taking off, things could get even more hilarious. Just picture a giant pigeon flapping its wings so hard that it knocks itself over. The sight of a bird the size of a small car struggling to get airborne would be a sight to behold, that's for sure. But don't worry, because giant pigeons wouldn't just be clumsy flyers. They'd also be terrible hunters. Their beaks might be sharp enough to pierce the skin of their prey, but they'd be far too slow to catch anything other than a cold. Just imagine a hungry giant pigeon swooping down on a mouse only to miss and crash into a wall. The mouse would probably live to tell the tale, while the pigeon would be left wondering why it even bothered trying in the first place. Plus, with their beady eyes, poor eyesight and tendency to hang out with humans, it's likely that giant pigeons would be terrible at avoiding cars. Just picture this: a pigeon the size of a small dog running across the street, dodging traffic with ease, until suddenly, splat, it gets hit by a car and sends glass and feathers flying everywhere. The driver slams on the brakes and gets out to check on the bird, but it's too late. The pigeon is already roadkill. To be fair though, it wasn't the pigeon's fault. After all, who could blame it for thinking it was invincible? But size isn't everything. Even if giant pigeons could fly, hunt and land gracefully, they'd still be pigeons. And that means they'd carry all the baggage that comes with being a pigeon, like their superpower to make people angry. Just imagine a giant pigeon strutting down the street, pooping on people's cars and generally being a nuisance. It would be the bird equivalent of a middle finger. And who could forget their uncanny ability to show up in the creepiest places at the creepiest times? Think about it. You're hanging out with your friends, enjoying a nice day when suddenly a giant pigeon lands on your shoulder. You try to shoo it away, but it just stares at you with its beady little eyes until you break down and pet it. Just don't be surprised when it later shows up in your nightmares. But despite their flaws, giant pigeons would still have their fans. We are looking at you, pigeon fanciers. These folks are known for breeding fancy pigeons and have a long history of keeping these birds as pets. In fact, some pigeon fanciers keep multiple breeds of giant pigeons, such as the English Homer, which can weigh up to 12 pounds. Can you imagine a pet that big? But don't be fooled by their size. Despite their imposing stature, these gentle giants would still have the same charming qualities as their smaller cousins. They'd still be curious, intelligent, and social creatures, eager to greet their owners and show off their latest tricks. And let's be real, who wouldn't want a giant pigeon as a pet? Sure, they might not be as cuddly as a teddy bear, but they'd certainly be more interesting. Now let's talk about how these giant pigeons would interact with the rest of the animal kingdom. On the one hand, they'd be large, powerful predators capable of snatching up small animals and bringing them back to their nests. They could rule the skies, dive-bombing other birds and stealing their food. On the other hand, they'd also be targets themselves. Hawks, eagles, and other large predators would see a giant pigeon as a delicious meal and worthy challenge. These birds of prey would engage in epic aerial battles with giant pigeons, fighting tooth and nail to claim the spoils of war. Meanwhile, smaller birds would probably just be confused by these giant pigeons, squawking and chirping as they flew overhead. Honestly, who wouldn't be a bit nervous around a bird that big? So what do you think? Would you want a giant pigeon as a pet? Let us know in the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe for more fun and educational content. And here's another video you might like. Until next time, thanks for watching.